What's up, you guys? My name is Preston James here at the Laughing Buddha Recording Studio here in Los Angeles, California, bringing you another amazing video. This video, like the past two, is a part of a series leading up to the 2025 Grammy Awards on February 2nd. Right now, today is January 28th, and as you can see from the title, we are doing Songwriter of the Year. We will talk about the 5 songwriters that are nominated for Songwriter of the Year. And just like the last video with Producer of the Year, we're going into a little bit of detail about who they are, why they're nominated this year, and what the Grammys consider to be an eligible person to be a Songwriter of the Year nominee. Without further ado, let's get into it. Songwriter of the Year. All right, let's go. All right, you guys. So like I said, there are 5 nominees for Songwriter of the Year this year at the 2025 Grammys. I'm going to go over them, obviously. That's the whole point of this video, where we want to give credit to the people behind the scenes of the music industry, behind the artist, what makes the song what it is, gives us that feeling, that love, that vibe, that sensation when we're listening to a song in our car in our headphones and we just have to listen to it, right? You ever had that song where you just have to listen to it over and over again? Whether it's the music itself, like the frequencies, the sonics, the vibrations of the song itself, or as the category suggests today, the lyrics, the songwriting. What about those lyrics that sometimes just grip our soul, right? And we can't get them out of our head, and we just sing them over and over and over and over again. So that's what we're doing here. We're highlighting those Songwriters of the Year nominees. We're highlighting them, right, to give them the credit and the limelight that I believe that they deserve. And we're going to see what's up. So without further ado, let's keep it going. The first, and let me actually, before I get into it, let me tell you what the Grammys have considered to be a Songwriter of the Year, or the prerequisite or the eligibility that falls under being a songwriter or being eligible to be a songwriter. So songwriters must be credited as the sole songwriter or co-writer on at least 5 songs throughout the year. So 2024 year, right? They'd have to be considered a sole songwriter or co-writer for 5 official released professional songs throughout the 2024 year. And this is the non-classical version, right? And so they are recognized, or I should say it like this: non-classical recognizes songwriters who have written a body of work that demonstrates artistic excellence. Songs where the songwriter is also a producer, artist, or featured artist do not count towards the minimum or this category. Songwriters can submit up to 9 songs that they wrote or co-wrote during the eligible year, 2024. Songwriters should demonstrate diversity, including racial and gender balance, as well as LGBTQ status and age. And this year, like I said, there's 5 of them, and they have songs that they've been recognized for. I'm going to go over those songs. For our first person, without just getting into all this mumble jumble, Jessie Alexander. Jessie Alexander, she is nominated for Ain't No Love in Oklahoma by Luke Combs, All I Ever Do Is Leave by Luke Combs, Chevrolet by Dustin Lynch featuring Jelly Roll, Make Me Mop by Cody Johnson, I believe, Never Left Me by Megan Moroney, No Caller ID, Megan Moroney, Noah by Megan Moroney, Remember Him That Way by Luke Combs, and last but not least, Roulette on the Heart by Connor Smith and Haley Witters. As I do on every video, I want to apologize if I get any of these names wrong. Please correct me in the comments down below. I do not know how to pronounce some of these names, but I'm doing my best, and so apologies, and I appreciate you, and I apologize. So moving forward, Jessie Alexander, she started out in Nashville, Tennessee, and she started out as an artist. So her first breakout album on a label was Honeysuckle Suite in 2005, and that was with Columbia Records. Shortly after that, in 2009, she wrote her first hit, and this is when she kind of started to solidify herself as a songwriter, and that was the song The Climb by Miley Cyrus. And then a few years after that, 2014 is really when it started gaining momentum for her. Like I said, 2014, she had 2 Grammy nominations for Lee Brice, I Drive Your Truck, and Blake Shelton's Mine Would Be You. And both of those hit the country radio #1 and were in the Billboard top 10. So that when any writer or any artist gets, in my opinion, from what I've seen in my lifetime, is whenever they hit the Billboard top 10, that kind of solidifies you and gives you that kind of ground to move forward in the music industry that like, hey, I have what it takes. Let's work together. Let's make this shit happen. Right? And so people give people who have been in the top 10 of the Billboard or any type of charts for the main part. So anybody who's been at the top of the charts in most categories in most areas like the Billboards or the country, rap charts, whatever, get an opportunity with other big artists, right? Gives them a lane to kind of show what they can do. So she had hers. Like I said before, a part of their song list for 2024, she wrote Dustin Lynch and Jelly Roll's Chevrolet, and worked with Luke Combs a lot, mostly with his 5th studio album, Fathers and Sons. And last but not least, for Jesse Alexander, she also worked with Megan Maroney, as I mentioned before, for her list of songs for the 2024 year. And primarily did work with Megan Maroney's sophomore album, Am I Okay? So, I also want to say that some of these songwriters I don't have a lot of information for. So Jesse Alexander didn't have a plethora of information, but she had enough. But our next Songwriter of the Year nominee had a ton of information. And her name is Amy Allen. Amy Allen, if you haven't heard that name by now, I don't know. She is all over the place in the music industry. She has written a lot for Sabrina Carpenter is where I heard of her. She's worked with Halsey, which was a big one. I'm just going to go over the list of songs that she's been nominated for Songwriter of the Year this year. And that's Chrome Cowgirl by Leon Bridges, Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter, High Road by Co Wetzel and Jesse Murph, which I did a video on Jesse Murph, who I really like. High Road, I just said that. Please, Please, Please by Sabrina Carpenter. Run for the Hills by Tate McRae, who's also a big pop artist right now. Scared of My Guitar by Olivia Rodrigo. Selfish by Justin Timberlake. Sweet Dreams by Co Wetzel. And last but not least, Taste by Sabrina Carpenter. So you can obviously see that she's definitely at the top of her game, working with the best artists in the world. So Amy Allen is all over the place. I have a feeling that she's going to get Songwriter of the Year just because she's just one of those names that just keeps surfacing with so many different types of artists, primarily in the pop, R&B, pop-ish realm, right? Which is where all the money is, which is where all the people are, right? So that's why I think she's kind of going to be pushing for getting the award. If not, then our last our last songwriter that I'm going to mention, I think that she might be up for it as well. So who is Amy Allen? Amy Allen, according to Spotify, she has been credited with writing over 165 songs. 165 songs. 165 songs by artists such as Harry Styles, Rosie or Rose, Halsey, Selena Gomez, Chris Brown, Co Wetzel. And like I just mentioned, she's worked with so many different types of artists that she is just sitting at the forefront of the music game for writing these songs for the biggest artists in the world. But she has, I think it was, what was it? She is also, this year at the 2025 Grammys, she's up for 3 other nominations. And that is Album of the Year for Short and Sweet with Sabrina Carpenter, Best Songwriter for Visual Media, and Song of the Year for one of the Sabrina Carpenter songs. I think it's Please, Please, Please. Don't quote me on that. So she's already she's already in the game. Amy Allen is 33 years old. She grew up in Maine, which is in the Northeast, if you don't know where that is. She started her career when she attended Berklee College of Music in Boston. After Boston College, she became a songwriter slash record producer and singer. So she's all three. She fits under all three of those little categories. She initially began as a singer for her band called Amy and the Machine. After releasing 2 solo albums, she met a bunch of people, lived in New York, and then thereafter moved to LA and to begin her official songwriting career. Started collaborating with other artists like Scott Harris. And after meeting Scott Harris, she signed to the Artist Publishing Group. After all this mumbo jumbo, in 2018, after working with her band, working with Scott Harris, touring, doing the solo stuff, she worked with Selena Gomez and co-writing. So she was a co-writer. That was her first big breakout, right? To give her main position as a songwriter in the industry was the song Back to You. And she also wrote the song Without Me by Halsey. Those 2 songs, Back to You and Without Me, Selena Gomez and Halsey, were the 2 main songs that she helped co-write, which really kind of gave her that momentum to be recognized as a songwriter in the music industry. And in 2019, she was supposed to release a solo album while being signed to Warner Records. After signing with Warner Records, and she was supposed to write or do another album, but she ended up working with Harry Styles on the song Adore You, as well again with Halsey on the song Graveyard. If you haven't heard the song Graveyard, that's how I was introduced to Halsey. I heard the song Graveyard, I think it's amazing. It's an amazing song. So that is also where she took the next step, leveled up in the music industry. After signing with Warner, she released 5 singles over 2 years, right? So she's singing, working with Warner Records, and co-writing, writing with these other big artists, and just, it sounds like she's trying to find her path in the music industry with singing being her own individual, independent in the sense of self, artist, as well as working with other artists to see which lane best fits her. So in 2021, she released her debut solo album, official studio album called Ah, and has been reigning success ever since. And since then, like I said, she's been working with all these top artists. Her momentum is nonstop. She's topping the charts. I don't see any signs of her letting up. Like I said, Spotify said that she's written 165 songs, according to Spotify. And we all know about Spotify, but anyways, doesn't matter. 165 songs is crazy. So look out for Amy Allen. I think she might take the award for Songwriter of the Year. And let's keep moving forward. Our next singer, why do I keep saying singer? Our next Songwriter of the Year nominee is Edgar Barrera. I think I said that correctly. Born in Texas, huge in the Latin pop scene, works with every single person, is known for being a collaborator, right? Putting 2 people together who people would not initially think would go together very well. And I mean musically, right? On a song. And so he's known to kind of make that match and make that work. He lives in Miami, but he was born in Texas in a border town. He's worked with artists like Ariana Grande, Camila Cabello, Ed Sheeran, Madonna, Selena Gomez, Peso Pluma, which he's has a tight relationship with, Karol G, love Karol G, Bad Bunny, Maluma, Shakira, and Mark Anthony, just to name a few, right? Some of these artists, just like Amy Allen, I can't name all the artists that they've worked with. I'd be here for a minute just going through all these artists that these songwriters have worked with. But just like Amy Allen, Edgar Barrera has worked with a lot of top artists in the pop, mostly Latin-based music. But he works with everybody. He's won a total of 26 Latin Grammy Awards. That's crazy. 26 Latin Grammy Awards, which is very interesting to me if he hasn't won any. Well, let's see. He's won 1 Grammy and 38 BMI awards, making him one of the most awarded writers in Latin music history. And the BMI Awards is Broadcast Music Industry or Incorporated, but 1 Grammy, and then he's won 26 Latin Grammys. Something's missing and not connecting there. I don't know what that is, but he obviously has the talent and success and know-how, knowledge to keep moving forward and get nominated. So maybe he's up for it. Maybe he's going to take it this year. I don't know. So like I said, he's worked with all these famous artists. He's written and produced with the artists that I mentioned earlier. He's one of the biggest artists right now. His biggest artist right now is probably Peso Pluma or Maluma. One of those two, Peso Pluma, Maluma. That's funny. But he said that he credits his music, he credits his background and his upbringing and music to his uncle and his dad for always playing music. His dad played in a band, and his uncle also played in a band, and they wrote for other artists. So he was constantly surrounded by music. That's a very common thread and a common theme with these songwriters, producers, and even artists, is that their family, their parents, or their somebody that's really close to them is constantly working with music. So they're surrounded by it, right? They're immersed in music constantly, which gives them that kind of sonic signature. It gives them an ear for what sounds good to not just them, but to other people as well, right? Because they have so many different things to go off of. This background knowledge, like we like to call it in teaching. They have a lot of background knowledge to pull from, and I think that gives them a one-up in a positive way. Not that they're like, oh, they're one up because they had a background of music. Well, they didn't ask for that, but I think that's definitely an advantage, and I think that's a great thing to have. So that was our third Songwriter of the Year nominee. Our fourth Songwriter nominee of the year is Jessie Jo Dillon. I had not heard a lot about Jessie Jo Dillon. I know that she's a newer songwriter in the music industry. Her parents, I know her dad was... Her dad, Dean Dillon, was a musician and songwriter, and his ex-wife, her dad's ex-wife, Keene Werman, was a Warner Bros. Records executive. So she definitely has an upbringing where she was surrounded and immersed in a lot of music culture and people who were not just artists, but like executives and producers and managers and a lot of PR based stuff. So she has that background as well that kind of gave her the foresight and insight to see where she wanted to go and what she wanted to do. Right. And I don't want to take away from anybody. That doesn't mean that they naturally have talent or they haven't worked hard. These people have worked really hard. I know, like I said, Amy Allen went to Berklee School of Music. So she worked her ass off, went there, decided she wanted to do this for a living, and then went out there to go get it. And she worked her ass off to get it. So I don't want to take anything away from anybody when I mention this kind of stuff and their background of who and how they got kind of connected to things in the music industry or people. So the songs that Jessie Jo Dillon is being recognized for this year are Am I Okay by Megan Maroney, Go to Hell by Post Malone, Heaven by Noon by Megan Maroney, I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, Lies, Lies, Lies by Morgan Wallen, Messed Up As Me by Keith Urban, Never Left Me by Megan Maroney, No Caller ID by Megan Maroney, Sorry Mom by Kelsey Ballerini, and Two Hearts by Post Malone. So she's obviously got a good number of songs that she's being looked at for Songwriter of the Year. She has had 6 Grammy nominations already, but no wins as of yet. That might change on Sunday. We'll see. So some of the people that she's worked with, some of the people that Jessie Jo has worked with, she's written for LeAnn Rimes, Keith Urban, Megan Maroney, Post Malone, Cole Swindle, and George Strait, right? Those aren't people who are nobodies. Those are definitely big name people. So she has her foundation for writing with people, and she's only building that, right? She's making her way up the chain, and I'm sure that she'll work with a lot more people here coming soon. And this is just her. I think this is her second time being nominated in the Grammys. So she's just now getting to a consistent rhythm, it looks like. A rhythm of working with these bigger artists and being nominated for Grammys. And she obviously has the skill, or else she wouldn't be here for a second or possibly third time being nominated. So she is said to have written over 900 songs in the Broadcast Music Incorporated database. So the BMI database says that she's written over 900 songs. And that's exactly what I'm talking about when I mean that these people have put in the work. So if she's written 900 songs, it could be irrelevant about what her past, who her dad was, who her stepmom was. That could be irrelevant, right? If she's written 900 songs, this lady has obviously put in the work to be a better writer, to do what she wants to do and make her songs as good as they can be. And then people picked up on that and it has brought her to where she's at now. She won Songwriter of the Year last year in 2024 at the Country Music Awards, non-classical, but that's already one award, right? Just because it wasn't a Grammy doesn't mean she hasn't been recognized for her songwriting skills. Again, I think she's one of those songwriters that's making her climb. She has some good artists under her belt, and she's just now getting to a place where her name is going to ring a lot more ears. So definitely look out for Jessie Jo Dillon in the future. Possibly could take home the Grammy, not sure. But I think, personal opinion, is either Amy Allen or our fifth and final Grammy Songwriter of the Year nominee this year. And her name is Ray. She's a British artist and songwriter. I just watched a video with her, which was very kind of touching. And she is very down to earth, it seems like. Connects her music and is writing, producing, and performing from the soul. She really is kind of touching that place and going to a place that really kind of connects with all of us, that we can all relate to. And I really appreciated that, because that's one of the reasons I know not only myself, but other people have gotten into music, creating art, is for that expression, taking those feelings that we can all connect to and relate to as human beings and putting them into art, putting them into words, putting it into sounds, right? And so when I saw this video, I guess I have a bias now. I kind of want her to win because I really connected with that. And I thought that was a beautiful thing. So her name is Rachel Agatha Keane. Like I said, she's a British songwriter, producer, and artist. She started out as an artist, but is mainly songwriting and producing now. The songs that she's being recognized for this year are Ask and You Shall Receive by Rita Ora, Because I Love You by Halle, Dear Ben Part 2 by Jennifer Lopez. Oh, Dear Ben, that's just kind of connected. Genesis by herself, Ray. Mother Nature by her, Ray, and Hans Zimmer. Ooh, I need to listen to that. Paralyzed by Lucky Day featuring Ray. Riverdance by Beyonce. And You're Hired by Neeked featuring Ara Star. Not sure who some of those artists are, but now I definitely want to check them out. I haven't had a chance to listen to all these, but they sound interesting. So yeah, and the story is she started out on this record label called Polydor Records. It's like dance records, and they refused, allegedly, to release her album. So I don't know what the drama is with that, but something happened and they didn't release her album. So she went ahead and went forward and then independently released her own album, My 21st Century Blues. And I think that's a perfect name. Not even just a beautiful name. I think that's a perfect name. My 21st Century Blues. That says a lot, right? Like it's blues, but it's a 21st century blues. So it looks a lot different than maybe someone's blues would look like back in the 60s or 70s, right? Don't know if I'm making sense, but it definitely made sense to me. But she's won 6 categories at the 2024, or she did win 6 categories at the 2024 Brit Awards, including British Artist of the Year. So this was just last year. And she broke the record for the artist with the most awards received in a single ceremony of the Brit Awards organization. I think that's an amazing accomplishment, right? I really think this girl is going to start coming up and making some way and dropping some names and dropping some heat. I really do. So look out for her. Her name is Ray. And last but not least, this year at the Grammys, not only being nominated as Songwriter of the Year this year, but she's also nominated for Best New Artist as well. So she's nominated for 3 awards in total this year. That is Songwriter of the Year, Best New Artist, and Best Engineered Album for Lucky Day's album Algorithm, which a lot of people think is going to take it and win it. She worked on that album as well. So she is all over the place. She's working with top-notch people. She speaks from the soul, like I said. She's got a great foundation, especially winning last year as Best New Artist at the British Awards and taking home the most awards in a single night by a single artist. She is definitely making waves in the best way possible. Those are our 5 songwriter nominees of the year for the 2025 Grammys. Hopefully, I gave you some insight to who they are, why they're being nominated, and hopefully you get a chance to check out some of their songs. And maybe you have a little bit more understanding and love for some of these songwriters. I know that when I do these kind of background checks, these little deep dives, right, into these songwriters, producers, artists, and engineers, I have a little bit more respect for their craft and their background and what they do, right? Even just hearing about Jessie Jo Dillon and just writing 900 songs, including the song she's working on now. But I mean, just imagine writing 900 songs, right? Like, you are getting better and better and better at your craft, right? Imagine writing 900 of anything, right? Let alone songs. So just a lot of respect for these songwriters and their craft overall. And if you haven't seen the record of the year or producer of the year, please check out those videos. Show me some love. I'd really appreciate it. And any video that you watch on my YouTube channel, I really do appreciate it. Sincerely, I do. And yeah, do what you got to do to get to where you want to be so you can do what you want to do. Again, do what you got to do to get to where you want to be so you can do what you want to do. Love you guys. Be safe. Again, thank you. I can't say thank you enough. I appreciate the love and support. And until next time, I'll talk to you guys soon.